Alrighty, we are going to kick off. Kim, I've been doing all the talking.
Hello, Beck.
I would love for you to introduce yourself, Kim, and let all of these wonderful people know a little bit about you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim. I live in St George's Basin, and that's part of the Nowra Shoalhaven area, and I go up and down the coast. I've been a consultant for 7 years and still here and love it. And yeah, it's nice to get together with Beck and do this. This is part of our Pinnacle Branch, What's New to Cookidoo and What's New in the Mixshop, that's held every second Wednesday of the month. So tonight I'm going to be doing a cucumber salad and also a bread that has a sour cream and onion topping, which Beck has also made today to show us the finished product. So I'm looking forward to trying that. It's very similar to the classic flam cooking that has been on Cookidoo for a while, that uses the same principle of just a dough, adding ham and some cheese and sour cream and baking in the oven. So I'm interested to see what this is with all the onions.
Thanks, Kim. So guys, those who don't know me, my name is Rebecca McAlister, otherwise call me Beck, most people do. I was formerly in Canberra, so I can already see some familiar Canberra names in the room today. I have since relocated to Moss Vale in the wonderful Southern Highlands, so that's where I'm joining you from today. I have been a consultant with Thermomix. This is now my 8th year. And still loving it every single day. Very excited to be sharing some recipes with you today that are new to Cookidoo and the new cutter attachment. So as Kim said, she's going to be showing you a lovely sort of onion pastry tonight and a cucumber Thai salad. I am going to be sharing with you a really, really quick and easy vegetable bake. We'll be using the cutter to slice all of our vegetables. And as I said, if anyone has questions, by all means, pop them in that chat box or come off mute. Now, Kim, I think you're going to kick us off tonight with our dough.
Cucumber salad first.
Oh, sorry, we forgot. Yes. We switched it around. Cucumber salad.
Cucumber salad. Okay, so first of all, it's in one of the cutter booklets. I've already weighed out the ingredients. So we need red onion. And also then we're going to just put our new cutter. So for anyone who hasn't seen the cutter, this is the cutter. It connects very easily. So we've got a shaft that goes into the base, and I've got an bit of onion in there from when I was weighing. And then we pop on the basket, which you can see it's got no holes, so it'll keep your bowl nice and clean. So we're going to pop that on. And then we want to place the cutting disc with the slicing facing up. So we've got a slate colour there, which is for slicing, and the grey there, which is for grating. So because I'm going to be slicing the onions, I want to have the slate colour up. So that just pops onto there. And then we're going to pop on the top. And we're going to insert the onion. So I'm just going to pop that in like so. And we're going to turn it to thin. I'm just going to use that little shaft there to push that down. It does get a bit of a vacuum seal.
And if anyone's wondering, yes, the cutter does make noise, but Zoom has a habit of cancelling noise out. So if you didn't hear that, that's why.
So I've got some nicely sliced onions, very thinly sliced there. And now I'm going to just pop that into my bowl. It's a good idea to try and remember what size the inside of the cutter is, so that you can buy vegetables that will fit either in the skinny side or the fatter side. going to pop that on again.
I should have actually asked Kim when we started, is there anyone in the room by show of hands or in the chat box who hosted last month or the month before and already has their cutter? That would actually be a bonus for us to know as well.
Okay, now I'm going to pop the cucumbers in, and it says to cut them in halves. I've just popped them in like so. And we're going to do these onto the thick slice. So I'm just going to hold that so I get it down a little bit.
Looks like there's a couple of you who already have a cutter. That's amazing. We'd love to hear your feedback on what you've thought so far.
Okay, and I've repeated that with the cucumbers. And now we're going to transfer the cucumbers into my bowl, which I have here.
Hey, Kim, do you want to just show us, hold up some of those slices nice and close so we can see what it came out like?
Let's see.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, so the onion's quite thin, like a really sliced, very thinly sliced onion, which is going to take out the bitterness of the onion. And then we've got our cucumbers. Okay, I'm just going to pop that aside. Okay, now the best part is, remember to take your shaft out, and we have a clean bowl to do our dressing, which I like that. And we're going to add 50 grams of salted peanuts and pop the lid on. And that's going to chop for 2 seconds on speed. And we're just going to transfer that into the bowl. I actually made this the other night. It's actually quite a really nice fresh light summer salad. And we're going to add 1 garlic clove. You've got to love not having to finely chop a garlic clove. And that's going to chop for 3 seconds on speed 7. Just show you that. So we've got some nicely chopped garlic.
That still amazes me, even after nearly 10 years of owning a
I
family.
know. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, how it chops it so finely. We're going to add 40 grams of freshly squeezed lime juice, 20 grams of fish sauce, $20 grams of white sugar, and 30 grams of grapeseed oil. And a fresh chili, and it's just asked me to thinly slice the chili.
So
I've just seeded it.
Here's a little tip, Kim. I successfully sliced my red chili in the cutter the other day. I popped it down the narrow chute, and it
very good.
Quickly.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And a half a teaspoon of salt. And insert the measuring cup. And we're going to do that for 30 seconds on speed 4.
Thanks, Kim. Such a simple salad, this one. We served it the other day just with some grilled chicken on the side, and it was just a really lovely light meal.
We had ours with salmon. So I just made the salad and then steamed some salmon in the Thermomix, and it was really really nice and fresh and light. That was on Monday, the hot day that we had down here.
Yeah. When we were talking about the garlic before as well, Kim, that's something else that I tried slicing with the new cutter. I popped in.
Yes, I saw that, Beck, on your page.
Yeah, some whole garlic cloves peeled, obviously, and I managed to slice those quite successfully. And I used them. I think I popped them in. There's a high heat broccoli saute recipe on Cookidoo.
Yeah.
It's got garlic and almonds and chili, and it was really, really good.
I've actually made that quite a few times, the broccoli saute. It's a nice addition to something light. And I'm just going to put that dressing on the side because we've already eaten our dinner tonight. So I am going to cover that and have the dressing and the chopped peanuts for tomorrow.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea, guys, if you're making salads ahead of time, if you're meal prepping for lunches or what have you, leave your dressing in a jar or a container to the side and add it as you need it. Otherwise, things tend to go a bit soggy and yuck.
Yeah, especially for cucumber or lettuce or anything like that. You can make it up and then just cover it or put it in a container just to keep it nice and fresh and then finish it off tomorrow.
Beautiful. So what's up next? You're going to show us this lovely pastry?
Yes, I will just need to get another bowl. So excuse me for 1 minute.
All right, the perks of being a consultant, having multiple bowls and multiple Thermomixes, as evidenced behind me.
Gotta love having the second bowl.
Indeed, indeed. Did anyone happen to take advantage of the second bowl offer that was running recently? How new are our TM6 owners we have in the room? Because we had the $29 bowl offer that ran after Christmas. Can I pop the link to the dressing in the chat, please? Merrily, I absolutely will. What I'm going to be doing is sharing all the links from today's recipes with the whole group afterwards, just so we don't have people flicking in and out of Zoom whilst we're cooking, because you might miss something.
Okay, so this is called tart flambe with onions, Thermomix cutter. So we're going to start with 250 grams of plain flour. Now, I only buy baker's flour to have in my pantry and make my self-raising flour. I use it for pizza doughs, biscuits, all of that sort of thing. So it works out economical for me. And we want 250 grams. 260, close enough. Okay, 30 grams of olive oil.
Now, for anyone who's in the room tonight who may be coming along to check out the TM6 because you're considering our current TM31 trade-up offer, Kim's just been weighing in some olive oil, and I'm just going to quickly jump in, Kim, and point out how amazing it is that the TM6 weighs in 1 gram increments, because the old TM31, it did not. And I know you've worked with one before, but it was very annoying. You would pour the olive oil and it would take forever for the scales to register that there was any weight in the bowl. So that's one of the great things I love about this machine.
Yeah, well, I'm going to add 120 grams of water. So this doesn't even have any yeast or anything like that in it. And 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Insert the measuring cup. And it's just going to do dough mode for 1 minute. So 2 minutes of kneading in the Thermomix is equivalent to you doing 20 minutes of hand kneading. So that's a saving. Who wants to stand there and hand knead? Not me. I know all the Italian mummies used to do it. We had friends that were Italian. And yeah, I often saw the pasta making and bread making, and they would stand there for ages to get that perfect consistency with the dough. So after this, we're just going to let it sit for 20 minutes in the fridge or close enough to that.
And the other thing, Kim, that's notable about this new model compared to the 31 is back in the TM31 days, and I know Elman is here in the room tonight and can attest to this, you could not leave your kitchen when you were kneading dough in the TM31 because it wobbled all around the place. It wasn't very stable, whereas the 6, it's so much more secure and safe when you're doing all of that kneading and the heavy work.
So I actually have my Thermomix on the Thermomix glider board. So it actually has little indents for your feet underneath, and it just slots in there. And I've found that it doesn't move as much as if I just have it sitting on the bench. So I really like the glider board. Comes in black, bamboo colour and white. And that's available in the Mixshop. So we're just going to wrap this dough. So it's just like a nice crumbly dough. And I'm just going to work that into a ball.
So I was quite surprised when I first made this one, Kim, that the dough came out quite, crumbly and little tiny balls rather than one big piece. But it works in well, really nice, easy. It's more a pastry, really, isn't it? Because you roll it out thin like a pastry.
So I'll just pop that aside for 20 minutes.
Great. Now, Felicity's just asked, she's come late, what are we cooking? This recipe is called tarte flambe. So it's a pastry that Kim's topping with sour cream and finely sliced onions. All of these recipes that we're showing you tonight, guys, do come from Cookidoo. And we will be sharing the links with you all after the session. I'm actually just going to add a spotlight on myself. Now, Kim, are you ready for me to take over now?
Yes.
Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to just quickly remove that spotlight and hopefully everyone can see me. Hey, guys. All right, so what I'm showing you today, in addition to the cutter, is our beautiful cast iron cookware from the Mixshop. So this is our Firra cast iron range. There are 2 of them, and they come in this beautiful green enamel, similar to your Le Creuset, you know, the really heavy cast iron, but these are specific to the Mixshop. This one, and you'll notice too, unlike those Le Creuset type brands, this has got little divots inside the lid, which allow for even heat transfer, and the condensation is actually going to drip evenly during cooking. Okay, I'm going to set that lid aside. Now, the other one in this range is a big deep casserole. It's an oval shape. I have them both and I love them both. Now this recipe, I just got to fix my Thermomix. It was about to go to sleep. This recipe is for a basic veggie bake. So we're going to slice all of the vegetables using the cutter, then whiz up a cream sauce and grate some cheese. All right. So step 1, for anyone who joined late, I will quickly run through once again how the new cutting attachment works so that you can see. Now we need to preheat the oven to 200 for this recipe. Like Kim, I've already eaten today, so I'll be cooking this tomorrow, but it's a great one to make ahead because you can just pop the whole thing in the fridge until you're ready to bake. Alrighty, I have already weighed out some potatoes, some zucchini and some carrots as the recipe has told me to. And then what we're going to do is grab the shaft for the cutter. Now this goes in similarly to your butterfly whisk. It just sits down over the top of the blades. Then we're going to grab our bowl that captures all of our chopped food. And then as Kim showed you, inside you've got a stainless steel cutting disc that's double-sided. So one side is for grating, one side is for slicing, and you can do 2 thicknesses with this, thick and thin. Now, I know there's been some questions about whether you can use this new cutter with other models or just the TM6. Happy to tell you, you can absolutely use it with your TM5. The only difference is, whereas we'll be using a TM6 mode with this machine, on your TM5, you'll be using your manual settings, so speed 4, and either forward or reverse, depending on whether you want thick or thin slices and grades. Okay, happy to repeat that if it didn't make sense. All right, so I am going to be slicing today. So I'm popping in my blade, and likewise the chute for this can either go to the front or the back, depending on your preference. Then we are going to thickly slice our potatoes. As Kim said, and I'm going to see, yeah, one of mine's actually too big for the chute, so I'll have to cut that before I continue. But the others are going to fit straight down through. Turn this on to our thick slice. All right, it is easier to start and stop the motor as you go. What tends to happen if you try and feed things in while the motor's running, little bits of food will fly out at you. Let me show you what we did with our potatoes. So, can we see that? Really lovely, perfect slices. I'm just going to transfer those into my dish, and then we'll move on to our other vegetables. So I've got carrots up next. I've peeled these. And another tip for the people who already have their cutter, lucky you hosted a demo. If you take the ends off and make them flat, it just helps to get things started as you're cutting. The other tip is do not push too hard. It doesn't like it if you force the food through. You really just need to do it fairly gently. And now you're all going to laugh because I have a massive zucchini. Like, this is quartered. It was one of those rogue ones that I missed in the garden. So it's huge. I've had to cut it into quarters. But again, here's my carrots. Really lovely thin slices. Now you'll notice when I share the recipe link for this recipe, the lovely team at head office, when they tested this recipe, have made it look beautiful. It's all done in a beautiful spiral pattern. I'm not into that. I'm sure Kim's the same.
No.
Not into that. Family to feed, right?
Yeah, just layer it.
Alrighty.
It does look nice though.
It does. Final thing is our zucchinis. They're going in there. Won't be long. Okie dokie. So this recipe does also include slicing some onion to go in. However, because I pre-made Kim's beautiful tart flambe earlier, and I had a few extra onions that I didn't put on top, so I've actually sat those aside. That's those really finely shredded onions there for anyone who didn't see. So I'm actually going to use those instead of cutting some fresh ones. And then the next step in the recipe after the onions is our cheese. Now, the recipe is actually telling me to do the sauce and then the cheese. I'm going to cheat. And for anyone with a TM6, here's a little tip for you. When you press the 3 little dots next to your next button, it will open up something that says recipe detail. And when you go into your recipe detail, it allows you to scroll through your preparation steps and jump ahead in your recipe. So rather than having to press the next button 15, 20 times, you can actually go straight to the bit that you want. So because I'm going to do my cheese first and then come back to the sauce, I am just going to, where is it? There's my sauce. I've lost the cheese. There it is. All right. So we're going to grate the cheese. So I need to flip my blade over to the grating section. Put my lid back on, and I've got a great big wedge of Parmesan cheese here. Again, works best if it's cold from the fridge. Wow, I didn't know that. See, Julia, this is why we have cooking classes, because we love to share this stuff with you all. All righty. You ready to be amazed at my grated cheese? Let's do it. Thinly grated Parmesan. In about, what was that, 5 seconds, Kim?
I don't think it was even 5 seconds, Beck.
This will work with cheddar cheese as well. So any of the harder cheeses. Wouldn't recommend trying anything too soft, but definitely if your kids don't like grated cheese the old way in the Thermomix because it's little balls, this way you're actually going to get beautiful shredded cheese, which I love. Now, are we ready? Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I love that.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I'm just going to sit that aside for a second until I've done the sauce. But as Kim said, doing all of that, the Thermomix roll has stayed clean. So I can then just go back in once again to that recipe detail and flick back to the bit where it does the sauce. Alrighty, now the sauce for this is a really simple one. It's some veggie stock paste. Mine's nearly empty. I'm having to dig all the way to the bottom of the jar. Need to.
Well, that's a cool spoon.
It is, isn't it? In fact, I think Elman van Rensburg might have gifted me this spoon at one stage.
I like that, Elman.
It's a Dream Farm one. We have the bigger version of this in the Mixshop. This is the little mini tiny one. We also sell the bigger version in the Mixshop. So there's a little bonus for you. 50 grams of water. Now, here's another tip that you guys might not realise about your Thermomix. Your measuring cup actually measures. So you've got 100 mils. There's a little line. That's 100 mils on one side. The other side, there's a little line for 50 mils. And if you have one of these ones, the divot in the bottom of your MC is a tablespoon. So there's another hot tip for you. So I'm just going to fill that up to the 50 mil line. So I can add in my 50 grams of water. And then I've got some pouring cream. Most of the time when I'm cooking, unless it specifically says to buy thickened cream, I always just buy pure cream. So if you're making butter, sauces, anything like that, this is the way to go. You don't need the extra thickening agents for most things. So it's 180 grams of the cream. And you can do this with any sort of vegetables you like. I was going to add some eggplant today because I had some in the fridge, but I decided to stick with the recipe. So some salt. Sorry, guys, I forgot to get my salt. Now, it's a half a teaspoon. A little bit of black pepper, which I'm actually going to leave out. And again, you know, that's the good thing about Thermomix cooking is you can actually just ignore the recipe and do whatever the heck you like. We're going to whiz that up now on speed 3 for a couple of seconds. And then I'm just going to mix through my veggies. So unlike the picture where it's all beautifully arranged, I'm just going to mix all mine up.
It still will taste the same, Beck.
And you know what? I think it cooks more evenly as well. Because you've got different, you know, different vegetables take longer to cook. The zucchinis are not as hard as the carrots and the potatoes. So this way it sort of all cooks a little bit more evenly.
I've actually made my potato bake, which I used to think, oh God, I got to slice the potatoes. And like in 10 seconds, I had all the potatoes sliced. And mine's similar where I just add cream, vegetable stock, and then grated cheese and pop it in the oven. So it was one of those really quick meals, like additions to your meal that you could make so quickly.
Absolutely. All right, so here's our sauce, cream sauce going in there. And then what I'm going to do is sprinkle that Parmesan on top. And the good thing about this dish is it has a lid. So you can start this in the oven with the lid on. So your cheese isn't going to burn and overcook. And then towards the end, take off the lid and you're going to end up with lovely, you know, bubbly brown cheese on top. So there we go. That is our vegetable bake featuring the Firra cast iron and the cutter. Now, guys,
In a couple of minutes.
in a couple of minutes. All right, so I'm going to address the elephant in the room now, Kim, very quickly before we move on.
Yep.
I think by now we've done a really good job of convincing everybody that they need one of these. We are aware that these are not yet in the Mixshop. They're coming, we promise. Right now, if you're upgrading from a TM31 to a TM6 as part of our trade-up offer, you can get the cutter for free as part of your trade-up. Okay, so that may be relevant for a couple of you. You can also get the cutter for $99 if you're buying a TM6 for the very first time. So that offer is also available. We also have a deal for new consultants. Now, one of the questions when you joined us tonight was, are you interested in learning about our business? This is one of the perks that you can get when you sign up. So with your first 3 Thermomix sales as a consultant, you will get not only the new cutter, but the blade cover peeler as well. So that's another way to get your hands on one. Otherwise, stick around, talk to your consultant. It will be in the Mixshop very, very, very soon. We promise. Now, Kim, I'm going to unspotlight myself and head back to you.
Okay, so I'm up to slicing onions again. And this is really good because you slice onions and you get no tears. No crying. That's a good thing. Okay, so
1 second, Kim, I'm just taking off my spotlight and now you are good to go.
Okay, so I've put my shaft in and popping my bowl in and preheat the oven. I'm not going to make this tonight either because we've already had dinner. I'm going to come back to the dough. I'm going to slice the onions first. So popping, oh, I better put the grater in first. So I want to slice them. So I'm going to put the slicing disc up, which is the slate color. Pop that on top. And I'm going to add 200 grams of white onions and red onions, which now I'm going to slice. Hang on, we've got to go to the shaft. Ta-da. Okay, so we're going to do these all thin and my onions, start popping them in.
Sorry, guys, I forgot to mute myself. I was rinsing dishes.
Okay. All right, so my onions are done and now I'm going to get my pastry out. I'll just show you how good those onions are. And you will get a couple of little odd bits in there, but there's my onions that's going to go on the top. And there's no like, I've got no crying from those onions. Okay, now I'm going to do what Beck said and go back to where I'm going to be doing my rolling out the dough. So I'm using our rose gold bakeware. So these come in 4 different sizes. I've got the extra large, which is this one, and the large, and you can buy the mat separately or you can just use baking paper. I'm going to use the mat. Okay, so that's nice. And the Thermomat is another addition to something that's a necessity in the kitchen. And you can get that if you host a Thermomix demonstration. So this dough is so easy to roll.
And something I did when I rolled mine out too, and Kim, I don't know whether you've ever done this. If you're trying to roll a rectangle and you end up with rounded edges, what I did today, I actually used the edge of my mat to create a line, and I sort of folded it up to create a little line, and then sort of rolled it further towards the outside, and that just helps to even it up.
I have seen that before, Beck.
Yeah.
It's a great tip. Sort of just gives you a bit more of a squarer.
Kim, Irma said that she'd buy the cutter just to do the onions.
Do you know what? I'm glad I have got a cutter because I use a lot of onions. And you know how you said you sliced your garlic?
Yes.
With the blade cover peeler, I've actually bought, when garlic was like cheap once upon a time, I've actually bought a couple of bulbs of garlic and taken them all separate and done them on the potato peel thing. And it's about a minute, 30 seconds with your water in your bowl with your blade cover peeler. And it actually peels your garlic, which is amazing if you want to have like nice peeled garlic that you don't have to do every time you do it. And then I just pop it in a jar in the fridge with some olive oil. So the oil gets flavored as well. And you get the nice garlic that you don't have to peel.
It's amazing what we pick up, isn't it, along the way on this journey as a consultant?
Well, we always learn something, and I learn something new just about every day from this. I'm actually going to put this onto the bigger one.
Yeah, so those Rose Golds guys come in several different sizes. I think we have 4 different sizes now, and they all have the silicone liners, which have got markings, so you can measure out your cookies or your macarons, or if you're doing a pie, it's got the big circle in the middle. They're really great.
Okay, I'm just going to get some sour cream out.
And once again, guys, I will share all the links for the products that you're seeing tonight and also the recipes that we're sharing. I'll send those to you all as an email at the end.
So it's just 150 grams of sour cream. And these Tavolo spatulas that are also in the Mixshop are amazing. So good when you're needing to spread something. So we just want 150 grams. I'm just leaving a little bit of a gap around the outside.
For anyone who joined late too, just while Kim finishes that, we did ask right at the beginning if you wanted to pop in the chat box where you're zooming in from today, which part of the country, and who invited you to join us. Helps us to know, how you're hearing about our classes, so we know what to do differently or how to do things better.
Okay, now I'm going to put the onions on top. So we've done that. I'm just going to arrange the onions across the top.
So yes, it is quite a lot of onion, isn't it, Kim? But it is
a lot of onion.
Beautiful.
But it would caramelize down a lot too once it goes in the oven.
Thanks, Andrew, for sharing that. And also thanks just quickly to the consultants who've joined us today, who have come along either in support of one of their customers or to take in the learning. I see there's a few people who are quite new to our business. So hopefully Kim and I are sharing some tips that you guys are picking up as well. Looking good, Kim.
I'm just going to rinse my hands.
Awesome, Sonia. You went along to our open day in Canberra on Saturday. Good to know. That's another one of the events we've been running locally. And
I'm just going to put some
salt and
pepper and salt. Yes.
Got to have the pepper and salt.
And then that is ready to pop into the oven.
Oh, yummy. Do we want to see what it looks like when it comes out, guys? Yeah? All right. Let me quickly spotlight me as well. Kim, we've still got you, but you've got me as well. Here we go. So there we are.
Oh, yes. See, it caramelizes and browns that onion, which will shrink it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cooked at a high heat.
Yes. So 220, I think this one is. Yep. Now I am just going to slide it off onto my board because I just want to give everyone a look at how thin it is. So when you roll it out, you want to do the dough about 3 to 5 millimeters. And that makes it sort of go nice and crispy. The recipe says to cut it into 8 slices. So it's designed to be eaten like almost like a big slice of pizza. And there's another little random Mixshop item as well, our knives. So here we go. So that's it there. So it's quite thin. The crust is crispy. When it comes out of the oven, the sour cream's all bubbly and so good. So
it would be nice with winter coming up in a soup.
Yeah,
with soup. As a side. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Now, do we have anything left to show? I think that's all of the cooking part.
I think that's it.
Awesome. All right. So guys, what is it? 8:15. I thought if everyone would like to stick around for 10 more minutes to do some additional learning with us, I thought perhaps I could share with you my Cookidoo on the screen. Because we've been talking about some accessories tonight, like the cutter and the blade cover peeler, I wanted just to make sure everyone understands how to update their Cookidoo preferences so that they're searching for recipes that either include or exclude those accessories. Is that something that you guys would like to stick around for? Yes, no? I'm just going to turn my computer around so you can see my mess, but it means I can reach my laptop a little bit better. Yes, please. Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So let me just quickly get Cookidoo up on my screen. And
do you want to unspotlight me, Beck?
Yep, I absolutely
that it comes
will.
up.
Yep, give me 1 second. Sorry, guys, driving all the technology. Unspotlight. There we go.
That's it.
And I'm going to share my screen with you all now. So what you're going to see on the screen is that tart flambe that we just shared with you. So that's the one that Kim was making. This one here, if I go into my weekly planner, this is the veggie bake, the vegetable bake Thermomix cutter. And
looks very pretty, doesn't it?
This is much more pretty than mine. And the cucumber salad, if I quickly type that in, it's the Thai cucumber salad, this one here. Now you'll notice that there is actually 2 versions of that recipe coming up. That's because it appears in more than one collection, guys. I think it's in the welcome booklet that comes with the cutter, and it's also in this one for light lunches. Now, what I was going to share with you is how to update your settings. Now, if you're doing this from the app on your phone, it will look slightly different. You'll be looking for up the very top right of your screen, there'll be a little circle. It will, with yours, it will be a chef's hat. On mine, it's my profile picture. And what you do is you go into your account and go view profile. Here you can update all of your settings. So depending on what the style of cook you are, you can select one of those options. And then in here is where we're going to make some changes. So we want to hit update filter. Hopefully this is going to come up. Yes, it will. Now, in case you didn't realise, and if there's any of you here with an older model Thermomix, you can use Cookidoo, whichever model that you have. So just select 31, 5 or 6. Then here is our accessories. Now, depending on what accessories that you own, you will tick this box. So I have a Thermomix cutter and I have the blade cover and peeler. The Thermomix blade cover is the original one that first came out. So that was the grey plastic disc that only worked to cover the blades. This one is the one that includes the peeling function as well. So we tick those, and that means that when we're searching Cookidoo, it will bring up all of these lovely recipes. I know Kim, when we shared the recipes for tonight's class, Claire Wells couldn't find one of them, and it's because she hadn't changed these settings. The other thing I'll quickly point out while we're in here, guys, is if you are searching Cookidoo and you feel like you're not getting enough variety, jump in and have a look at these language and country filters. So the default will always be Australia. When you first get your Thermomix and set up your account, it will default to Australia only. If you're wanting to search the UK and the US and Canada and all of those other parts of the world, you can untick Australia, and that bit is important. You need to untick, and then you need to tick this one for English, and that way you're expanding your search. Obviously, if you happen to, you know, read French or German, you can tick those boxes as well. But for me, mine is set to English. Oh, I got an error. Oh, it's because I'd accidentally been logged out of my Cookidoo. Anyway, that's how you do it. Update filters. Stop the share. Who have we still got? Look, we've still got all 25 of you. Awesome. That's great. Now, does anyone have any questions, or does Kim have anything that she would like to add before we wrap up?
Just thank you everyone for staying on and joining Beck and I tonight. It's been fun.
It has indeed. So as I said, oh, there was a question. Who was that? No, that's okay. I think I'm still spotlighted. Let's turn that off so I can see everybody. That's better. All righty, guys. So that is it from us. In our email to follow up from tonight, I will be sending you a few different links and resources. One of them is the Pinnacle Branch link tree. So our link tree is where we share all of the upcoming cooking classes and events that we as a local Thermomix team will be running. So as Kim said earlier, this particular session, What's New to Cookidoo in the Mixshop, is something that we're going to be running every month, the second Wednesday of the month. So if you'd like to be notified of the next one, jump into that link tree and you can actually subscribe to updates. The other thing that I'll be sending you is the link to the Thermomix Australia Eventbrite page. Again, we're running classes all around the country at the moment, online and in person. So hopefully there's a class near you. And then I'll send you the recipes and the links to the Mixshop products that you saw today. By all means, reply back if you have a question. If you're not in touch with a consultant already and you'd like us to assign someone to look after you, Kim and I can absolutely do that for you. And I think that is everything. I think that's everything. Kim, did I miss something?
I don't think you did. I think you did a great job, Beck.
Excellent.
Just checking.
I don't think there's anything else in the comments, but we can stick around for a couple more minutes. By all means, guys, let's wrap up, head off, make yourselves a cup of tea, go to bed, whatever you need to do. But if you do have questions, I'll stick around for a minute, as will Kim. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone.
And I will stop that recording right now.